What's up, YouTube? Quick video. I'm gonna be replacing my alternator. Already got started on it, but basically you're gonna need a 19 mil socket for the belt tensioner bolt, and then one of these long belt tensioner, I don't know what they would be called, but this thing right here, you can get it at Harbor Freight for like $15. So need that, and then mine was a little tight, so I kind of had to move it around, but basically you put it in. That's a 6.19 millimeter socket, and then you pull this back towards you, and that should loosen up the belt. And then I got it off. I don't want to go ahead and redo the whole belt, so I just kind of like put it together like that. And then I haven't really watched any videos on it, but it looks pretty simple. And disconnect that bolt, that one. It looks like that one at the bottom. You can see right there. Disconnect a few wires and stuff, and that seems to be it. So before I figured out, well, before I did that, disconnected the battery in the negative terminal, and then I got started doing that stuff. So those are the things that you're gonna need, and I'm gonna figure that out, and I'll let you guys know for sure. To figure out my that my alternator wasn't working, I did I used my multimeter, put it to 20, and then when it went to 20, I put the test leads, one on the positive, one on the negative. After the car was warmed up, idling where it should be idling, and the battery should be getting charged by the alternator at 14.4, 14.2 volts. So mine was at like 14.05, and it was kind of like going down a little bit, like 14.02. So that was no good, and that's basically how I found out it was the alternator. Well, at least I'm hoping so. But basically, yeah, you take it off with the 19 millimeter 6-point. You will strip it if you use anything else, because those things are made of aluminum, which is pretty fragile. And yeah, disconnected the belt, and then I'm gonna figure out all this stuff right here. I'm probably gonna remove this just to have more space, put it to the side. I don't think I'm gonna move that at all. I don't think if I even can. Yeah, there's a 10 millimeter bolt. So that is basically it. All you're gonna need is your 19 millimeter socket, your whatever this thing would be called, and maybe like a screwdriver, some 10 millimeter sockets to move things out the way. And these would be, they look like 10, maybe 12 millimeters. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on that, and that's it for now. All right, so basically there's gonna be a 14 millimeter big bolt at the bottom, and then a 12 on top, and then another 12 for this one right here. And then you're gonna have this little connector, it's a 10 mil. This connector, you just disconnect it. That's basically it. Should come right out with a little bit of wiggling, and yeah. Here's the old one. Well, they're both old, but one of them was actually working, so just spins and spins. And then that's how it should be. I am gonna clean it up, so I'm just gonna get the like something to take out the dust. Probably get the air compressor and get that little tool that blows air out. So that's basically it. This one just spins, it's gone. And I was actually having like a weird sound on acceleration, so that might have been why. It was kind of like a clicking sound. So don't know if I can hear it. Maybe not, but there's the other one here. Nothing, well, not as much. This one just spins. Okay, and I'm gonna put it all back together and give you guys a recap. First of all, I'm gonna blow this with air and get it a little cleaned up. Alright, so after a bunch of moving around, basically the hardest part is gonna be placing that bolt at the bottom. So you see how there's like a, let me show you, right there, this is gonna be the longer bolt. This has like this bracket, that's the alternator, and that's part of your car. You're gonna have to line that up, put this bolt in first, make sure it's in, and then you're gonna go ahead and try to put it right next to this thing over here. If you can see it, let's see. Can barely see it. Right there. Well, anyway, so at the end there's gonna be like a place where it bolts on. So you're gonna try to get that in just to secure it, and then you're gonna try to twist it with your hand and just make sure that it goes in. It might take a little wiggling, moving the alternator back and forth, but that should go in. And then after it's in part way, you're gonna go ahead and do that bolt up top again, and then lastly you're gonna do this one. But before you put that one in, you have to undo that so it's movable, and you put that one in, and lastly you put that one in. Hopefully it makes sense. So you're gonna basically remove that, put the other one back on, put that one back in, and that's where I'm at right now. Next thing is gonna be putting everything back together, which basically is connecting this to that, and then connecting this connector right there, putting the belts back on. Make sure you have your stuff kind of like set so that you don't have to redo the whole thing again. So that's what I'm gonna go ahead and do right now. Basically pull this back in, put the belt back on, make sure everything's where it's supposed to be, and that should be it. Alright, also forgot to mention, I disconnected this little thing right here. I think it should be hooked up to the AC. Thought it'd give me more space, it didn't. And then I put the cruise control thing to the side, so you're gonna have to redo that stuff, and yeah. So, oh, quick tip for this, it doesn't really matter if you take off the belt from the bottom here, because it's gonna be a little tight, and you put it first around this and then around that, because it's gonna be way easier. But yeah, what else? Cruise control, put it to the side. I'm gonna put it back where it goes. Well, that was weird, but it looks like the cable for the gas was like stuck somehow. I just checked it from the kind of like the cruise control box, and like for some reason if you just like pull it back, it'll keep the same RPM. So it's kind of weird, but now it seems to be good. And yeah, the alternator seems to not be making any weird sounds, and I'm gonna take my car for a run, but I feel like it should be charging now.